We just put this graphic here. Yeah. So we are good.
Yeah, everything is a go.
Everything is a good. Let me just switch the graphics there, right? So where's the scene? Where's the word?
Hey, dear, my brother, just taking it one day at a time, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Is
One Well, I get well from
Good to
just
be on the show.
reason. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You know, was only a matter of time. Um, so I was reasoning with myself the other day, and I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah, for sure.
life in general is a series of chapters now. Everybody have a series of chapters in their life.
Mm,
Whether it's school days, um, you know, post school days, that kind of thing. But the music career kind of just go the same way too. You know, like
yeah.
you freeze
Well,
up here.
yeah, cool, man.
Yeah, so your music career just kind of go the same way. And I know your career has grown in a series of different chapters. Um, so we will talk about all the chapters, you know,
For sure.
from. So I mean, I believe everybody know who he is, or everybody don't know who he is, but you gotta do the introduction. Let people know who Chromatics is at the corner. You know, who is Richard Rathkumar in a sense.
There's a whole different. There's a large separation between the two. I would think. Um, I think. Well, blessings to everyone your here. I in the corner for hip hop artists, rap soul artists. I feel a little more comfortable with the word rap soul artists. Do feel that gives me a little bit more leeway, a little bit room to experiment with what
Mm-hmm.
we grew up loving and at the same time what as Trinbagonians. That is also a more recent chapter as we talk in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I hope everybody gets familiar with the music if you're not familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was having some difficulty saying,
So you talk to me, bro. I wanna know.
huh? Yeah. I know connection outside the connections outside the F up. That's not it. It's my
You was having some difficulties, what?
yeah. Yeah. Yo, you hear me there?
Yo,
Yeah. You hear me there? God boy. Hey.
yeah, I hear you. How we looking?
Yeah. Yeah, it started stick that's not for a second. I don't know go. I use connection or what.
Let me just check. Let me just check my if anything first.
Yeah. You hear me there?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
You hear me better?
Yeah, I had to switch I had to plug in straight boy. Just again some
Good.
problems these days. Fine. All right. Cool. You going back on in. Mm,
Right.
yeah. Boom.
Mm. I lighted my candle to get some nice light in here. Now, you know.
Hey, I take care of
Shout out, Kai and Kina. You know what I mean? Bring me
All right,
some
who
nice
brand
little
is that?
candles.
All right.
Huh?
Who brand is that?
To make the studio thing, you know what I mean? Feng shui up
Mm.
the vibes.
Yeah, as you were saying, I was having pretty much difficulty writing rap artists now. Like I would usually say, rapper, Chromatics. But then I was like, nah, I decided to say recording artist because I think a brand transcend genre at this point. Um, can't say rapper or but you do rap still. I hope hopefully you still spit bars, just in a different format. Um,
Yeah.
so the beginning chapter will make you decide, okay, music is the thing. I can't remember which song it was, but it talk about going to the bank and you know, I think it was forcing independence. It was, if my memory serves correctly. Um, so what make you decide? Okay, this music is it. I know it involved your brother. I know we
Um.
spoke about that previously.
Well, not just my brother. I mean, as I say, I've been around music all my life. I think what was really impactful for me, so at a young age, was seeing my mom perform live,
Mm,
and then seeing her perform, and then seeing her perform live on TV. Because if people don't know, my classically trained singer, right? Um, Shout out to Glenda Collins too. She performed in the same show as Glenda. You know what I mean?
mm,
Um, that was very impactful at a young age, and therefore it was just like being around it all the time. Um, Aside from in the house, there's always music. It was always because at them time in day, we talking like the 80s, mid 80s up to the 90s. Is you have channels of cable. You ain't got no phone or no nothing. So music just played this huge role. I think in anybody's life who grew up in them time, and
mm,
then being exposed to, as I say, my cousins playing instruments. Gerard, shout out to Gerard, Neeraj Kumar, and then of course my brother Krishna. They were always on the local rock scene,
mm,
So it's kind of just growing up around live music and live instruments. Gerard used to drum, Neil used to drum, Krishna used to sing, manage bands, um, and just growing up around it just kind of led me down the path of wanting to get into it more. Um, but I kind of just didn't really know where my talent lied within it, and it's just and then it was my another cousin, because as I say, it's like just being exposed to it all the time. Um, so, for instance, on weekends we used to go by my aunt and uncle, which is Jared's father and mom, and the whole family, all the aunts, my mom and all the aunts, and all of them would gather around the piano, and because she's play piano, and she would see all of them singing. And while them singing, we in the next room banging on Jared drums and Neil drums and things. So, but yeah, as I was saying, like I didn't really know where my form of expression musically would come until, as I said, my next cousin Arthur, he migrated to the States for like a couple years now.
mm.
And this is like
Trouble
late
that.
80s, 88, 89. Yeah. And he came back with just hip hop. You know, I think you could relate. You have cousins who coming back with hip hop cassettes and thing, and about
I
growing
think
up in a
my
quote
introduction
unquote
was
urban culture. Um,
my cousin brought a Kid Murray cassette. I forget the name of the album. I think it was the long one, the long title.
Keith Murray.
Yeah, Kid Murray. I think it was Rosie Wiggle or something. I can't remember the name of the album, but it was a long title. I remember. But yeah, I think that was Spark.
It's not the most beautiful.
Yes, that one, that album. I mean, like I always liked
But
it, like from
yeah,
and the Sprite commercial with this boy from Brand New Beans. Um,
Puba.
it was a Sprite commercial with Sprite in my right hand, in my left hand. That commercial, I really like that commercial now. Um, Grand Puba, yeah, Grand Puba. So that was my introduction. So I know how that one item or one cassette or one thing could just spark interest in a genre. You know.
But yeah, but like when because the funny thing was when we were kids, we really used to draw now. Like we would sit down
Mhm.
and trace out X-Men and Daredevil comics and like before that. So, but when he came back with this now, this was like, all right, this is the next form of art expression. Gravitated towards, and we just started writing. I mean, in primary school, I was writing like poetry, and which is by extension is hip hop. Well,
Mhm.
rapping, and that's just how we. Then he started rap with his friends in Fatima, and I just kind of fell in, and he was like, write something, and I wrote something, and 30 years later,
Still writing.
you know what I mean, here we are.
But what was the transition between
Why?
like that chilling with that and singing this group to bouncing up Tim and Nigel and them and joining Spot Rushers? How because I was around the hip hop scene them time. I think was just to me it was just existing was like Spot Rush not Spot Rushers Dredrin and that whole vibe going on in Chagonas and Tony
Mm.
Tunnel and that kind of thing. So what was going on like in that period
Foxhole,
between Foxhole, my boy, big up my boy oh god, the no,
they
but
swing.
anyway, they swing, right. So all them times was going on, they swing, Foxhole, Treasuring, and then boom, Spawn Rushers on the scene. What led to you linking up with Tim and Ghazi and Niger?
Well, uh, so after Arthur left, um, he went back to the States to do college, right? Um, so I was just in school and I was just kind of by myself doing it. I didn't really have peers around me that were doing it, you know. I mean, I gravitated towards, um, and they were shout out to the whole team of Dredging who always used to let me advice back in the day. I used to go to school with Tommy Def, younger brother,
Mm,
Dylan, and he went Pres. I went Pres Shogun. And going in Pres Shogunas, and everybody knew me as the little white boy who loved hip hop now in the school, and
mm,
we would exchange CDs and whatever. To actually make, I used to record my own little songs on a little setup. We go through all of that technicality of how I used to record it. I used to make these mixtapes and get
mm.
them out in school and give brethren, and like at the end of it, I would train one or two of my songs. You know what I mean? So yeah. So then getting older, you start to hear about what going on in the tunnel. You're hearing about Dredgering, etc., and other groups. And man, I must have been 16, 17 years old. And a night, I remember it clear as day. Yo. I left up in the east up here, travel to Shogunas, reached by my brethren, Dwayne. Shout out to Dwayne Allen. Shout out to Edel Nichols. And it was pouring rain, dog. And it was like the first time the Dredgen was having one of their, pop parties in Italy. And I missed it like the year before because I think I was
Mm-hmm.
doing exams or something.
Mm-hmm.
Reached down Shogunas and it's rain that we took, gone in the man, but us take garbage bags, rip it open over we head from where is Edinburgh something so to the tunnel in the
Mm-hmm.
pouring rain. And I'll never forget this. This is one of the most like Tommy Depp and them fellas from Dredgen go remember me. And people who went that show go remember me. Because I so want people to come in then and enjoy that show that I had an umbrella and I was walking people from the car into the venue with umbrella. Just so it would hold our vibes. It's my first vibes there, and I just wanted people to come and enjoy the vibes. That's how much I was like wanted to be a part of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You dig? And then that first night, I believe, yeah, that first time I Rushers perform. At that point, Spot Rushers was a 4-man group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Ragazi, who used to be Fire, who used to be Sleep Dynamite, Kwame.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
he kicked a rhyme there. He said, I wouldn't buy an album if some pussy came with it. And I was like, yo. and
Gabgazi.
and then yeah. And to me, at the point in time, shout out to Dredgen and everybody else who's there, but Spot Rushers just sounded a lot more current to what was going on in hip hop. This is like 99 or 98. Might be
Mm,
99. Right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, and basically, after that, I saw them perform. They opened for Naughty by Nature, and I was there with my sister and big up Sasha Romano and big up Damian Archie, and stormed the backstage. And when they came off, shout out to Killer Kel, who's part of the group Shockman, them timing. He just knew my face from around now. He remember me from any ton thing, and we just enjoying myself in the rap party. And he's like, I was telling him like, yo, I do my thing, whatever, whatever. And that is when he invited me to check them up by Cell Construction, Father,
Mm,
man, you want. And that's kind of where the happened. And then they just realized, hey, Chromatics kicking some hard thing. And it was just a falling kind of vibes. And we just
mm-hmm.
started moving
Right.
around and doing what we do.
Right.
So
So,
that is the essential long story of how that came to pass. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I never understood the link. I know it was. I remember seeing you in the group. I couldn't remember the when Kel was in it.
Mm.
I think I couldn't recall when Kel was it. In the group. But yeah, moving from okay, Spot Rushers come blowing up the scene. I think it had some bacchanal. I can't remember what it was. I think that was the street tape or the thing I used to shoot. But anyway, and then he end up being a solo artist and high records happen. Or did the high records happen along the same line? Was it that he was member of Spot Rushers while you and Stuart was thinking up of high records, or that happened after Spot Rushers?
Yeah,
Or that was
it
supposedly
happened
the
kind
next
of
step.
yeah, it happened simultaneously because I left the group in 2003 and then came back in the group in 2004 5. And it was around that time me and Stuart was, started to. That was when I left my job at the in the
At the
bank.
bank.
Like,
Yeah.
so I went to New York and I just saw certain things that opened up my eyes to the business of music,
Art.
right? I'll get the story. Basically, I was in, Union Square. Manhattan. They had the big Virgin Mega Store, record store,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
CDs,
remember going there
cassettes.
one.
Yeah, and to be outside is hustling the CDs, right? Uh, so I patronize them. It's like, how much you selling it for? 10. Well, they had their headphones, they're listening. You could listen to what they're doing. And I listen to a lot of them. You could break them down to $5. They get the CD for $5. And so I'm just clicking my mind. I was like, yo, I way better than these guys. And if I could sell them selling $5 CDs for $5, if you sell 2 CDs in an hour, that is minimum wage or more than at the point in time. You dig? And something just went off in my brain. Yo, let me go back to Trinidad, start this label, and approach it just like them. And more a record company would put street teams to market and promote new records and new songs, just like they do out there. Where the premise of Highway Records kind of came about,
Mm-hmm.
keeping the cost of production low,
Very
and
low.
just trying to just hustling, and like the best way to you know promote your music, face to face, person to person interaction. I take a longer to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, I had a play on radio with Spot Rushers, solo songs, and then it had a whole different scenes. I used to be in song systems, miking, DJing, and miking jugglers at the time. Shout out Al Barry, Ron, rest in peace, Trotman. And I just kept on. I realized the radio game at that point now, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like kind of theater. I just always knew it's all about taking your music to the people because when you're watching the great companies start from selling stuff out the trunk and analyzing the business, the music started this. Because Spot Rushers was doing well, we were popular, but we wasn't making no big set of money at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I came
Right.
back and we actually tested out. The first that was with Spot Rushers with a mixtape called the Marijuana Mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
Then the
Yeah, I
next thing
remember
after that was my album Against the Yeah. And then the
that.
next, the proper presentation of again on Highway Records. Yeah.
Nice. So I mean, I think it was true.
Yeah.
Well, true Bebo. I ended up linking with Oli and got to do the grind song on the business of art. And well, the cold blooded video happened, and then well, the rest is history. What made you? Okay, and I think
But
I never really
technically,
asked this.
technically,
Wait, you're breaking up there again. Um,
yeah, technically, yeah, technically, it's not just True Go alone. Is T5 Bobby too as well. So shout out Bobby as well.
right, Tiff, yeah, Tiff. Yeah, RA all day. Yeah. Ramguli.
Because what happened, what I know Fifth from battling and thing when he was still young and the rapper that he was at, or became rather, and
Mm-hmm.
he put out an album, and I went and checked it in Curep and buy his album, because I was just all about Trini hip hop dog, like heart and soul. Dig? Like anywhere it had thing, I go in the hardest of hoods. I go in any wherever it had hip hop, I go in. I dig front and center. That was just my mental point in time, and I was just supporting everybody who I thought was doing good thing. And that's how I ended up hearing you on Bobby album. Did we
Right.
did kind of did over the Sade cover,
Yeah. That was
yeah, and then of course John, of course Bebo brought in and was like, let's do it. I was like, of course.
because I think we recorded the remix by Bebo, because it was a song with me alone first, and then recorded the remix with Bobby on it by Bebo, and I think that's how that happened.
Right.
I didn't really know Bebo before his T5 introduced me to Bebo, and well, I guess the rest is
Yeah, so
history.
shout
Um, but
out
I
to
know with
them.
all the being banned on radio and the all the bacchanal with Cart and all that mess, what made you decide? Okay, High Records, that journey ended. What ended that journey with High Records? I don't think we ever discussed it or talked about it. Like kind of things just went left per se. But no probably some details I couldn't go into. But what made you go into the chapter after High Records?
Um, I got a difference of opinions on how business should be done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a different and all right. So try not to put too much out there, but I felt now, John. You remember how much work I put into everybody's albums and projects.
Mm-hmm.
I basically record everybody's albums, oversee it, picking and writing sessions with you, recording all the songs, sending it to Drake, mix and mastered, present, and then nothing. Your album was, and then your album was your first album to come out, and it did very. It initially did with any project. I think you have to have a sort of long-term plan. You have a short-term plan fit, and you have a sort of
Mm-hmm.
longer-term plan fit. And it's like to me, there wasn't any plan, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I am sacrificing all of this time, um, energy on other artists, which is all well and good because I love the music that we made on everybody's albums. Like
Mm-hmm.
I that was a really rewarding. But at the end of the day, it's dollars and cents. I'm out to live. So if I'm helping create these projects, so I can't go out and sell it too.
Mm-hmm.
Chromatics is also an artist in his own right. I felt like every time I had to approach a project like the Science of Colors mixtapes and whatnot, it was just a rush thing,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to get my shit done in like a week, 2 weeks, and yeah, it's just a kind of frustration with that. You know, as I say to this day, I mean, I feel bad about Kane and Saint because their albums were real dope. Imagine your album was incredible, and I know their albums were dope, but it takes is you know it, and I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of artists out there should know it. Like the creative process is one thing,
Is the
but then
the
there's a whole next side to marketing and
and that
selling,
is where I think that's where I just
and
fall
that's a
short most of the time,
whole.
and that's where I just fall short most of the time because
Mm,
that side of it, I just get real not problems, but I just get drained fast now, and I you just get drained fast having to get out into people's head all the time. This is the album, and this is how we market it to the people and that kind of thing, and that's why there's the, get the problems with now. You know, marketing is after what we doing after it done. We had a strategic plan, putting out video this and video interviews and
I the creative process was rewarding but also exhausting, and it's like, yo, I had to go and
do your thing. And I mean,
do next part. I was like, nah, man, I was exhausted.
I remember hearing the brief little you said it in coulda woulda shoulda, and I was like, all right, it makes sense. It makes sense then because I didn't know. But it's like it makes sense at that point. When I heard it mentioned in coulda woulda shoulda,
I said it.
Hmm?
I said, a few songs,
Yeah.
but a few songs. That's why when it comes to my music, there isn't a big difference between Rajkumar and Chromatics because I get very personal with my music, and it's a release. Not all the time, not too much anymore, but back then, yo, that was my release. You dig?
Mhm. Well, breaking up,
Yeah.
but I don't know what's going on. Sticking out. I don't know if it's because I plug in straight direct from the on the line, so that's why I usually say the mobile is be a problem.
Well, my wife I supposed to be steaming,
Mm.
so I ain't know what's going on. I pay real money, corporate
Corporate
better
ones?
have here, better run fast.
Uh, so yeah, science of colors. So um, glass ceiling. We get any glass ceiling or that is like Dre album.
Nah, that's never happening. That was that never happening. Glassy was kind of had songs that were on um Science of Colors Volume 3 was supposed to be on Glass Ceiling, Cold Blooded, and them thing was supposed to be on Glass Ceiling and thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Cold
But
Brother was
that's
actually
way
supposed
back then. But
to,
I
yeah,
have
Cold
my
Brother was actually supposed to be on an album.
yeah, yeah. I have album Hammer and Chisel. I know
Haman Chisel is the one
which
I was
I've
trying to
been
remember.
working on for years. But
It's Haman Chisel I was trying to remember. It's really Haman Chisel I meant to
yeah,
say.
definitely. Oh, Hammer and Chisel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely getting Hammer and Chisel. I mean, by the hook or the crook out sometime. But I have songs and it's just like real taking my time with it and just putting down what I feel because for me, this whole transition doing soca, rapso, kaiso has influenced the way I do hip hop music.
Mm-hmm.
And the songs that I have a sound. So the things that I'm creating now, how much would be have sound more so into my history and
Mm.
how I rap because I go on with I love business of art and
Which is
again
one of my
train for
which is one of my favorite albums of all
and
times,
all
eh?
of that. Yeah, I blessings.
Yeah, Business Class is
But
one of my
I
favorite albums of all
go
time.
back and listen to them things.
But I mean, it kind of did. It wasn't surprise to me doing the
I
guys, so on the rap, so because to me, Basement Party was that, you know, minus probably little accents here and there, but Basement Party was basically where you're doing now in essence, or where what I think the trajectory was to do. Um, and even stuff like what Patricia did with Iron and that kind of thing is way kind of where, to me, I believe where the Rapso was kind of heading, or the Raps was supposed to be heading, and so I mean, it's wasn't no surprise to
yeah,
me
no doubt.
when the transition happened, because it wasn't like I wasn't surprised. I mean, it sounds like when I heard Mapupi the first time, I was like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Um, Surprised I thought that song would have been bigger, to be honest. I really thought Mapupi would have been it.
I
Um,
think my I think my puppy too experimental.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
think I
think
understand what
I
you're
think
saying.
Woy was Woy was the found a nice, and that kind of different. When I did Woy, I was like, this fit in any season. This is me. This is vibes. it you know it boy was just every that I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
kind of as you dig? And that kind of allowed me to do the rest of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
But to take it back a bit, well, the high records period then they done that kind of thing, and I remember the moment the carnival wrap up happened. So I was listening to Questlove's podcast the other day, and the question he always asks the artists, right? Because I think he think along the same line like me. I'm kind of one of those. I am very scared of the hit. Like I am very afraid of the hit, like the hit song now. Like I am that artist that
Uh-huh.
was it was it a period of like a bittersweet thing that you finally catch them, but the one that all the time now, the one this one thing all the time, and he always asks artists like he was asking about Pharrell's Happy and like you want to hear that? Do you really like to hear that song? Do you want to hear that song again? Do you want to hear that Carnival wrap up? Do you want to listen to that for 4 or 5 years straight? Do you want to
Well,
you know
pro-
was it not one of those moments where it was like was it one of those
the,
moments
the
where it's like
problem the
yeah
problem with the carnival wrap up
yeah go ahead
is that it was it date it it's dated. It's after, as I said, I've said it in so many interviews, is like after 2-3 months down the line, it ain't it ain't fresh and it ain't new because I've already, people, once people hear, because you're dealing with so many topics, real topics that happen in now. 2-3 months, a year goes by, it's no longer relevant. You know. Now, when it happened, I was, nah, I was real glad because it was like, all right, fine, you already know what time it is, and I think I was more happy because it was the bridging of the gap between hip
between
hop and Trinidad. They can't say that, you know what I mean? They can't say, oh, them fellas who does rap, they does thing and is, trying to song Yankee and do whatever. It was just so why people fell in love with it. Yeah, the comedic side, the messed up side, the peacock side is what they gravitated towards. But it was also very relatable as a hip hop song for Trinidad and Tobagonians. That's why people loved it and still love it to this day. But as I say, I kind of, when I think of Woy, when I think of Outside Man, when I think of True Talk No Lie with Nabila, them is songs I could perform for the rest of my life. You dig?
mhm,
And that's kind of where I'm gonna be at. You know what I mean? Now somebody did put it the other day, which I found was very potent, and I understood where they're coming from. And if it's one reason that I would do our next carnival wrap up, it would be this: is that you're documenting the carnival,
a documented history because in a sense that what
basically. Yeah.
calypso is there was you could go back anytime in history and know what was going on in that time yeah so yeah I understand that point
Yeah. So
um mhm.
who put that to me? But I remember who put that to me.
Yeah, so yeah I understand that point
Yo,
yeah the like it
you
disappear
hear
for a
me there?
second yeah you know
Yeah.
it disappear for a second that's not it
Yeah. So yeah. Somebody try to call me. You know how it's go.
Oh.
But yeah, that's like the only saving grace out. Not saving grace, but real reason that I would think of still doing it and be like, yeah, I feel I could do it. You know what I mean? But I rather make music that lasts and I could perform for the rest of my life. And you dig?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about hits. Outside man bigger than any carnival rapper. Another level.
Correct. Correct. What was that? You mentioned it the other day about the writing process in the in the
So
in the in the lunch. Um, but how do you do it, boy? Like, how do you know?
mhm.
Like, this is what we make because it's not a man. I think there's right plenty. You don't have like a bunch of songs put on and then you all right, you pick one or two.
Nah.
You kind of catch it on the what make it what's your writing process in the sense of knowing exactly what could get them or what you know explain the writing process in essence like
Well, something is, and I think you really have to be a fan of the music and um, just know what people would gravitate towards in certain genres. But really and truly, like my most potent songs, my most, you know, favorite songs is a concept, a theme, what we writing about. And typically your chorus is that. You know, your chorus is the theme, your overarching theme of a song. And the verses is more extending that or expanding on that whole theme theory. You dig? And that's how I kind of approach it. So once I get a melody, sometimes it might be melody, it might be just lyrics, but most of the time is melody or melody with lyrics.
mm,
Um, and yeah, and that side man just came to me. I was looking for thing because I I was in the tent and going in the tent lie down the year before was a great experience and I wanted to go, but I didn't want to come serious and aggressive and social commentary. I kind of wanted to lean more to that comedic side that people would
mm,
know in the carnival wrap ups. Because to me that connects better with people. And also at the same time, I am someone that has studied stand-up comedy. I just study stand-up comics and their timing and delivery and
makes sense.
so when I came up with that, when I got the outside man concept, and well, I got the hook, and then the cat come inside. It was just kind of like, all right, how we expanding on that? How we gonna? I just
What's that? Like you're real breaking up. Anyway, so we talk a lot about the music, right? But outside of the music, I see you mentioned today about
mm,
on your Instagram about having a lot of people on responsible for a lot of people and how is the personal life and the musical life now with COVID and not being able to do business as you would like to, but how is business life, how is music life, and how is your personal life, and how is you handling that now, how it is handle being a musician, because not easiest thing to be, because it's not a regular job, but how do you handle, and I don't know, well, now that you have a youth, um I don't know if you announced that to the
mm.
public, but we have a youth now, so it's a little more responsibility. How are you going to handle the music now? Are you going to handle it differently, or is it same old grind and you know?
it's it's because it's so it's as I said, the last year I don't really want to talk about it much, but basically my mom got sick, and I had to kind of take care of her a lot. And then COVID, and then my youth, then of course my fiance with my youth. So it was so many changing dynamics that it's been hard to get a grip of a routine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So as you know, before born, all right, we would have a routine. Now he born is a different routine. Two,
Mm-hmm.
3 months when he's sleeping, it's changed a different routine. He go back out to work is a different routine. So it's just really been tough trying to find that because as a man like routine and
Mm-hmm.
I just have an average hour when I come into the door and when I would leave. But all of that had to kind of change around everybody and everything that was happening. I mean, they are my responsibility, so have to take that up as man, and
Mm-hmm.
now that things are settling out a little bit more, so a little bit more, I think I'm developing a routine based around life as it is now for me
Mm-hmm.
personally. I would say that even though things was rough, last year was financially within music was not a bad year. Luckily, I over the years know that as an artist, as a musician, and being in the music industry, you need multiple streams of income from different
Mm-hmm.
sources. Um, and luckily, kind of kept me rallying through um 2021 is okay. It's a little rough, but hopefully things will get better. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But just trying to hold it together one day at a time. It
But
was really heartbreaking when took off the way it did, and I had so many bookings for like the first time in my life. I had like bookings of the Wazoo internationally all over the world, and then COVID come. So but say what that is just life. I always say this as a cup half full kind of man, and it's not me alone battling with this. It's everybody has been hampered by this pandemic and the world as it is now. So I can't complain.
but I would say this. Yes, Amanda's it has drive me to continue because every time I think, all right, man, have this
Listen,
music shit. Yes, Amanda's drive me because you're still doing it now, and I mean, it's not like I'm not aware of the business of art. I know everything that I should do, but I just be real despondent to do it now, boy. And I mean, yes, Amanda there's okay. I know you telling me I should do I should come in the tent, but is finding the song now, boy. Finding the right song and writing it.
yes,
Because I just write different now, boy. My writing process a little bit different, But I had to get with the team and again,
mm,
but I'll get somebody to write. I approached a couple of people about writing for me, which I've not done previously. But I think the calypso thing a little bit different. I had to really study it. I really had to study the art form and really study how certain Mendes write and how certain. Because today I was actually listening to some Nelson to kind of see, okay, maybe that brand of writing might suit why I want to do now,
mm-hmm.
or somebody like study Byron or study somebody who's used to sing and
Come,
study that
come,
brand of
come,
writing now. Hmm?
mhm.
Yeah, so I really studying the art form in a
come,
sense.
come to think of it, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was
Yeah,
listening
as
to
I listen
some.
it in my head here now, hearing his songs, and
He has some songs outside of Disco Daddy and thing that real bad. You know, he have a song called Ballad Rasta or something like that.
mm,
That real and the music in it is more like soul funk now. So it could actually work in a sense where my style could fit in that vibe now. So I really studying the art form, but it's a man that's really motivate me to continue and keep doing things now. I mean, usually first person actually show me, well, if people in booking here do your own shows, and I've been doing my own shows from since then now. Or else I wouldn't have had the idea to go to the
No
venue
doubt.
and do my own shows. So his man has always keep me ahead of my game in a sense. Not competing, but being motivated to do things. Now with that said, um, do you ever like get despondent? Like, you know, nah, boy, I think this is my last year or my last 2 years, or I see it say, no age in this thing. You're going until the wheels fall off. But there is ever a period of time where you get say fuck this, you know?
So many times.
So,
So many times. You know, they, they, Dave Chappelle said in one of his stand-ups of late, and I quoted it. It's like, right when I was about to give up, I decided not to.
mm-hmm,
And one of the closest things I came to quitting or changing up rather was 2015 when I had to go into the hospital with my mom. And before they even do anything, well, private hospital, and before they even do anything, you had to arrest down 5 grand. Uh-huh. And that's when I was like, and I there waiting for promoter. Shout out Raucus because I had just performed in his event with Mr. Shaq and Relator. Raucus paid, came and meet me in the hospital, gave me my booking fee, etc. And and I was like, it's just trying to find get get becoming more savvy with your business
mm-hmm,
and streamlining your business, doing your accounting and looking at your expenses, all of that. Yeah, that could essentially help you to maintain. It's really not about passion. The passion, those some days, of course, you have writer's block and you're feeling it and whatever and whatever. But I know that it is always come back. And that I'm frightened about. And I just say, I'm not a man that does write a bag of tunes, but I always writing a line here or there. Like I see things, I hear things, or whatever. I would write down a line and write down a line and write down a line and write down a line. You know what I mean? So I know the inspiration is always there, but it's just really trying to manage the financial aspect of music that you have to just get a little better grip of. You know, I mean, I think like you do in engineering and all of that as a different part of music, but it's all music.
mm-hmm,
So even when I'm doing like the grind, radio is all music to me, but it's just different avenues, different streams that could all help each other.
mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So as we on the grind, is it returning or is it
So even
is the
yes, the
grind
grind is
returning?
returning.
Mm. And what when it,
Yes,
I remember the first iteration
but it is
of
not
the grind.
turning to.
What made you decide to do the grind
Mhm.
or get into back into radio? Because I remember the first was on Boom,
Well,
right?
the first time,
No, it was always on was always on X.
no, it was 99.
Okay.
It was and shout out to Mark Abuama. Mark
Yeah.
from
Big up, Mark.
Chester. Mark was the program director at Next at that point in time. And he was trying to curate different specialty shows. So he had like a reggae show, a dancehall show. I think they even had at that point a sort of alternative show, and they wanted a hip hop. So of course they came to me. I've had little experience in radio at that point, but I had experience miking live and DJing, announcing, hosting live. So everything just came naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the grind did its thing a few years as a hip hop entity. But then when I decided to start it back, I think that it was two things. One, it didn't have enough local hip hop. I'll be frank. And two, I think the urban market was so bubbling with so much different kind of vibes that it would be kind of too niche to just
Mm-hmm. To hip hop.
play just local hip hop. Play just hip hop.
And to be honest,
Yeah.
local hip hop wasn't really saying nothing.
Initially, it was a hip hop show. We used to play international.
Uh, to be honest, as a
And
fan of
people
the,
might vex.
and to me as a fan of local hip hop, I really found that it didn't have much hip hop going on. To be honest, outside of Mike,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say who was making music. And I shop music making, but I wasn't seeing any. So I mean, it made
Yeah, well,
sense.
Mike and Ash,
Yeah, Mike and Chinaj, you know. Outside of those two, I don't know who was
but
making.
there's a lot that we play on the grind. I mean, people like Xavier Edwards that I've discovered over the doing the grind, and a lot of other art. There is
Mhm.
a lot going. There is some interesting.
Because there was a period where Keen one of them was doing the battle scene, which was cool, you know. But that was very left field in a sense. Well, not very commercial, as the battle scene was going on very active, and then that stopped. And well, Mike, as I say, Mike is the only one I've seen consistent. I guess because he's on my radar. I think that's one of the reasons why we did the Y Squared album. Um, because he's seemed to be still wanted to rap for some reason in this climate. Um, so yeah, the grind. But I think I come to the end of the questions that I had. But we have any plans coming up soon, like anything in near future that you think the people will want to know? I want to big up Lime and Justin one time as we here.
Oh, definitely grind. The grind will.
The what?
The grind will be starting back very soon. But the grind will be starting back very soon. But it will be on an independent format, an independent platform,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that platform is the next thing.
All right.
That's a project that that wraps right now. So look out for that. Look out for the grind starting back very soon. And I'm thinking I'm gonna get more podcasting and stuff like similar stuff that you are doing because I'm interviewing people too,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I have a knack for it.
Yeah, well, from your radio experience.
Talked about documenting, yeah, and as we talk about documenting Trinidad culture, I think there's a lot of that not happening right now or not happening in the way it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something
I
I'll
mean, it's,
definitely begin. And then
it's
I'll
something
release a lot of hip hop songs there. I mean,
it's something me and Bibo talk about a lot recently about actually doing documentaries, um, not just on the culture, but like hip hop and thing, and the industry. So I get we do have a lot of documentaries on a lot of things, but and a lot of Like I just sit down and watch a lot of documentaries on all kind of music, hip hop, rock, on a lot of artists, and we don't have a lot of that here now. But somebody told me it's money was one of the reasons. Because to do one is expensive. I think that was the reason somebody told
Well,
me.
that is our next thing too, that is shit. With the that we have now, that is shit, as far as I'm concerned. Right? The problem is, not problem, but we have to get a little bit, as content creators, we have to get a little bit more serious with the people who use our content, reinforce that to them. Talking about them, I mean the or other whatever outlets. Um, but I mean, like I sit down and I watching was it program Calypso Review
Mm-hmm.
and watching the Shadow interview, and I go back and them things so eye opening and marvelous to me now. Listening to Shadow sit down and talk about how he came up with songs and different things like that. And I think that we're missing that now. We're missing that personal one-on-one sort of conversation, human conversations, not the commercial conversations of, all right, we have bills to pay.
Yeah.
Tell me about your song, get out my studio.
Yeah.
Right?
And I hate interviews like that. Hate interviews like that. Because they always ask you the same
Yeah.
dumb questions all the time.
And I think that's why people love the grind, because I think when you being an artist too, you know the interviews that you feel, that someone who's interviewing you is genuinely interested and genuinely cares
Mm-hmm.
about this whole thing, and it's not just a hype and a flan. Hey, I interview so and so, boom, bang, bing. You as an interviewer, you contributing too. You know what I mean? You contributing towards creation of this content and create and art. You know what I
And
mean?
story.
So I think we've lost that sort of, yeah, and right, documentation, as you said.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wish we had better. I don't know. The internet was well messing up today, so there was a lot of cracks and breaks. But I think I spoke about a couple of things that I never really talked to you about now. I never really sit down and reason. But I mean, we reason a lot, but never, get to the integrity of certain things. And that was one of my intentions today, actually, to break down your chapters now. But
Right.
in all the chapters that you had so far in the music, you appreciate the journey, and this is where you're at the moment in time. This is Chromatics 2.0 or 2, what version this is. So we're looking forward to more versions of yourself. I think the Kaiso thing, is just one part of it, because I know you as a man always switching up or always trying, to be different, and it's one of the things I admire about you
Mm-hmm.
as a artist. One of my favorite artists. Not just I like to see. I love your craft, not just bedroom thing, but as a man, a fan of your work. You know what I mean? So, um, I know it's more to come and more vibes. And I know you have a lot of support from your pops. I love to see your pops out and about when you're doing things. He looks so
Definitely.
proud of you. So big up pops all the time. You know. Always so happy to see you doing
Yeah,
things.
man.
And big up Justin. I know he's both of our he's be on our backs. I gave him a little break, a little, 'cause I know he's a man that's good to a lot too. So, but I'm back on the heel just now. I'm going back on the heel just
No
now because
doubt.
I have some plans.
Nice.
You know.
Nice.
So big up me brethren, just So yeah, this was cool. I feel I want to do a part two at some point with better service or in one on one. So
Yeah.
big up
But
yourself.
you could ask some things about.
Where's that? No.
I say, yeah, we could definitely do a part 2, and you could ask some things that you never asked before.
Yeah. Break down some of them songs. Like some my Forced into Independence was one of my favorite songs to Family B. And the intro to the album. And one of my favorite songs featuring on was actually well, the kind of ominous, scary thing in the background. Oh God, my memory is real shit, you know.
Because
Huh? Bloodsuckers. Bloodsuckers. See that song they did? I don't know how it is right, to be honest. But is that thing I wonder. Bloodsuckers.
you want to know? I write that song at 3 morning.
Yeah? Somebody
When I had mashed up my leg playing basketball, and I couldn't go nowhere. And we was finishing up the business of art, and I wrote that Juve morning, like into Juve 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and everybody on the streets playing Juve. I write in June, so I was kind of a Blue Devils energy, Juve energy in it, a darkness. Really?
Yeah. Somebody asked, not sure what I missed, but what was the inspiration for Outside Man? Big up Miguel Charlie.
Yeah. Well, the rare people has asked me that question, like if something happened with me now, right? But as I always say, I have been the outside man a few times. I get horn, I give horn.
All right.
People, it is life, and it's just relation, especially in Trinidad and Tobago. The Pekong relationships is a big culture. So, yeah.
Vibes. All right, well, we go touch base. We go link soon, and we go have some things to talk about. So yeah, thanks for those who tune in.
All right, my brother. Sure.
And see you all week after. I'm doing every 2 weeks, every other 2 weeks now. So every other week. So thanks for tuning in, all who tune in, and look out for the next episode in next 2 weeks. Having Dalia Hernandez on. I hope I get your name right. So yeah, Dalia Hernandez on for the next episode. So give thanks everybody. Peace.
Bless up, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Bless.